In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a banner using existing variables in a dataset, as well as manually adding banner columns. First, in WinCross, let's go ahead and open a job and data file. I'm going to go to my most recently opened job and data file and open those files. So File menu, Job, and then my most recent data file. Next, we're going to go to Setup Banners. We'll go ahead and create a new banner. So we'll select New, provide a banner name. I'll just say Banner 1. And we want to edit this banner. And now we are in our banner editor. By default, we have a single column here, and we're going to go ahead and call this our total column. So for our first banner column, let's type in total. And then down below for the logic, we need to enter the logic for total, which is always TN in WinCross, TN for total. Next, we're going to go ahead and add banner columns from existing variables in our data file. Under the Columns drop-down menu, we can go to Insert Columns from Variables, or F11 on the keyboard. And above here, we have all of our variables that are in data file. So for our example here, let's say we want to add region. So we select our region variable. Down below, we can see our different values that are in that variable. We have Northeast, Southwest, West, Southeast, and Midwest. Go ahead and grab all of those and move those over to our columns. So now we have 5 columns we're going to be adding. WinCross automatically adds the label from the data file and does the logic for us. Go ahead and select OK. So now we're up to 6 columns. And for an example of if you also want to just manually add your columns, you can do that by changing the number of columns. So we have an age question, it's QD1 in our questionnaire. We're going to add 3 different age nets. So we'll up our columns by 3. And we have 3 blank columns now. So go ahead and type in what we want to see in the columns. So our first one is going to be 18 to 34, 35 to 54, and we'll do 55 plus. We also need to make sure that we tell WinCross the logic for these columns. Since we're manually doing this, we also need to add the logic. So we'll go up to our 18 and 34, go down to our logic, and this is QD1, so 1 or a 2. Go to our next column. You press enter or select a column. So 35 to 54 is QD1 is a 3 or a 4. Press enter. Our 55 plus is a 5 or a 6. Next, to make these columns look a little better, we can center justify everything and also add some underlines and headers. So begin by, we'll do a select all. It's Control A on the keyboard, or these are all in the drop-down menus. We have our different row options, different column options. So everything's highlighted. And we'll center justify everything, which is Control E on the keyboard. So under columns, cells, drop down to Control E, center justify. Let's go ahead and add some new rows here. So we'll go to rows, insert a current row. We're going to add 2 rows. Next, we're going to add some dashes above each of our groups here. So we have 2 groups. We have our region group and our age group. First, I'll select above Northeast, highlight over above Midwest, and merge these columns together. It's Control M on the keyboard. Just cells, merge selected cells. And we'll go ahead and put 2 dashes in here. We'll do the same for 18 to 34 over the 55 plus. So we'll select 18 to 34. Highlight across 55 plus and Control M on the keyboard. And I put a couple dashes. The reason I put 2 dashes versus going all the way across is there's a nice feature in WinCross. If it's Control Shift A on the keyboard, or it's under the cells drop down, auto size underlines. Cells at the very bottom here, auto size underlines. If I do Control Shift A on the keyboard, it'll automatically put the dashes all the way across for us. This helps for when you're doing very large banners and you're merging a lot of columns together. Next, we're going to add the rest of our headers here. So we'll go back over to our Northeast column, highlight across to merge those together. A region for our header. Do the same for age. And if we want, we can leave these left justified, or we can do another center justify again. So Control A to select all, and then Control E to center justify. And all these commands are within the drop-down menus. So we have columns, different column options, or different row options, or cell options. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and add our comparison groups. We can tell WinCross what groups we want to stat test against each other. So go to our comparison groups tab, and we want to do significance test on region. So we have all of our region columns selected. We'll add that group. We'll also want to do our age groups. So we'll select our age columns and add that. Then we'll go to our statistical testing options in the bottom left area. By default, WinCross is going to stat test the means of percents, and we use the WinCross selects test as default. This is where you can change it to be an independent test or a dependent test, or leave it as WinCross selects, which will do the correct test based on the data. Under our t-test option or z-test options, this is where you can change the confidence levels. By default, WinCross has 95 and 90. Let's go ahead and run our banner by our tables. So select OK a few times. Go to Run Tables. And we'll select our banner 1 by all the tables that are already created in this job file. And run. So now we can see our banner by our tables, and we can see our significance testing here. So we have our uppercase at 95% confidence and our lowercase at 90% confidence. And if I continue scrolling down, we'll see our statistical footnote. And here's our Q1 table. Thank you for watching this video. Check out our help for additional details and our other videos.